you sell the game?
Who's got that dirt stash?
They don't win unless he scores 50. You can't deny what he does, what he means to that team. How does Pat Riley come into this?
You want to have that record. Welcome to another exciting episode of Please Dunk Responsibly. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Rice. With me as always, my co-host,
Bill Webster. Welcome back. It's beautiful outside.
Oh yeah, we're recording at the very reasonable hour, 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m.
Yes, it's very beautiful outside. We're in spring. It's starting to get warm up here already, so we go from 55 to 90 in Sacramento. That's how we like to do things around here. As always, and you are in the dungeon, the NBA dungeon.
I'm here in my bomb shelter, waiting for the impending doom of the... God, yeah, it's such a dichotomy. Like, we are in very different spaces right now.
We slightly are. Yes, we are. Slightly. But nevertheless, to talk about, you could do beer and basketball wherever.
Yeah, exactly. This is my studio, and one day it'll be beautiful, but right now it is a storage space.
It is a shipping container where refugees are kept right now, but will eventually turn into
you know what's worse? I had so long to put up a background and just didn't. I'm like,
I don't even have one. I'm forced outside until mine is constructed in my garage. But we will both have it together.
No, I will never.
Sooner or later, or maybe never. Well, I like to say.
Yeah. All right. So for new people to the podcast, what we do here, we can talk about basketball. We compare beers to players, teams to breweries, and eras to styles. Although we kind of skipped that because we got that all knocked out in the first episode ever.
Yes. Yeah, we got to start off strong there. Yeah. Just basically giving our top 5 breweries in our areas and going from there. But things change, just like in the NBA. We'll definitely check back with that. We got some new hitters in this world that we didn't have when we first started this podcast, like Movement Brewing and Log Off. I think it maybe just started right when we got here. So we got some new hitters in the Sacramento region. So, and they're coming out strong.
Oh, Touchstone also.
Touchstone, yes, another one, another solid beer company that came that's doing good things, came out strong. People are really liking them.
Yeah, and for those of you who have been listening for a while now, I think that's just you and me, Phil. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Black IPA is our beer that we're starting off with from Henhouse Brewing out in Santa Rosa. Recently expanded Henhouse Brewing.
Yes, we're huge fans. You've been on their podcast or their 5 minutes on Instagram.
It was longer than 5 minutes.
Conversations. Yeah. Well, it's longer than 5 minutes. Excuse me. But yeah, they do. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, there
is
go.
What I was getting at, and my words. And
as the guest, I couldn't remember the name of the show.
I've been a fan. Yeah, no. And you were a part of that. And I've always been a huge fan of them. They're just happy-go-lucky guys that just like making good beers and talking about it and finding out what other people are doing in their regions and stuff like that. And it's a really good conversation if you ever catch it. I think they do it on Thursdays or Fridays on Instagram. If you follow them, they're doing some good stuff always. We've always liked their styles of beer. And we're having basically a black IPA, which is kind of like a lost style. It was probably pretty big about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. It's kind of trying to make a resurgence. It's very roasty and bitter and but light, not like coffee necessarily. It's very, very nice. It's a good morning pairing with a coffee.
Or replacement of.
I like it. I like it a lot. It reminds me. Yeah, it's very nostalgic, this brew.
Yeah, wonderful stuff, as always. Made with Cascade, Mosaic, Simcoe, and Autumn hops at 6.4%. Good kickstart to the day. When I saw that they were releasing this, I'm like, I need this. I need this so bad.
Yeah.
We need to drink this on this podcast. So we were able to track some down. I'm very excited about it. And it says to drink within 28 days of brewing, and I think we're barely in that window.
I think we're right there.
Right up on it.
Right.
So
right up on it.
Maximum freshness.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We like to run things to the wire. Yeah, it's great. I mean, if I wanted to compare this, obviously, to a style player that maybe used to be that kind of a, style of a player that doesn't really work anymore. I would say, gosh, like a Kenyon Martin, maybe like just a guy who rebounded and dunked. Like, the era of the power forward has probably ended.
Yeah.
Like of what we
the
remember being
power
a power
forward.
forward. Yeah, like the Chris Webbers of the world and the Dale Davis, Anthony Davises of the world, the Anthony Masons, the Oakleys we talked about before, where it's like you're either an enforcer or you're just just incredible players that like
Amari Stoudemire, Damon Stoudemire.
Yes, Damon Stoudemire. They were like the evolution. Him, Weber, where it's like these were scoring very athletic power forwards, and then I think they probably died out about like 7-8 years ago, just like this style of beer. Unfortunately, I know 21st Amendment I think still makes their back in black, but there's not a lot of places that are doing black IPAs anymore.
No, they're starting to come back. You see them trickle in. The reaction is what it is, which is you either love it or you hate it.
Yes.
And I think, the lovers are very much the minority in this style of beer. But I'm a big fan. I loved them from the jump. I was going to say that it went the way of the dodo, much like the shooting guard who shoots.
Okay.
No longer exists anymore. It's all scoring point guard.
Yeah. No, right. You have to handle the ball as well as shoot instead of just being like, what is it, like Dennis Scott? Even I guess.
Yeah, you know what? Even now that I think about it, like they weren't really even shooting guards then. Like,
that's true. No, they weren't really. They were just kind of out there. They were just
like Joe Dumars wasn't a shooter.
True.
He scored like 15 points a game. That's not really. But
no. Well, yeah, but it's like because they played so much more like. It was like Isaiah Thomas to like everyone else, right? It was like, I get it to the big guys down below, or it's like I shoot it, they rebound and put back. Like that was their ugly style. So it's like, Joe Dumars was never like a true high scorer, but like I would say like Dennis Scott and what am I thinking of? Like Anderson, I guess he was like a small forward, but like those guys that would just. Hornaceks of the world, where it was like they weren't really handling the ball; they were more just like trying to create space, get shots, and then you just kind of had your Reggie Millers of the world, who were like scoring.
Yeah, Michael Jordan for some reason, Kobe
and
Bryant,
stuff like that.
Like
more than it was like until like obviously now Curry has led to all these other. Scoring point guards, basically. Like you take it up and then they're probably going to shoot like immediately.
Yeah. I mean, they've always had scoring point guards, Pistol Pete, you got your Penny Hardaway, Gary Payton a little bit, new Hall of Famer Tim Hardaway.
Yes.
Then you go back to your shooting guards. You got your Mitch Richmonds. All right, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the athletic power forward is probably the athletic post heavy power forward.
Yes, post heavy power forward. Like the meaning, the definition of a power forward has definitely changed. Like it's just not what it used to be. It's like You just don't rebound and defend. And then you had your Webbers and Stoudemire's that kind of changed the game because they were just so much more athletic. And then now everybody has to shoot threes. So
everybody's 204 pounds instead of like 260.
The taller, the better. The skinnier, the better. You're only going to get like 6 years out of you. And then you're Porzingis, who's been on like now 3 teams and who was supposedly a unicorn and can't stay healthy. And yeah, I mean, Doncic couldn't work with it. Now, again, we could get into this, but it's just like, as much as I appreciate Doncic's game, he is getting away from helping people. Like he does, his style is not. It doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's facilitating as much and making other people better. I feel like he's just forcing up a lot of shots, and it's like they don't win unless he scores 50. Now, he does have the ability to do that, so that's like amazing, but it's like, like it's again like having a DeMarcus Cousins. It's like, God, that guy's really athletic and he could do everything, but he's not really helping anybody else.
Yeah, I think that is kind of the double-edged sort of a do-everything player, is that it neutralizes other people's skill sets, or their skill sets neutralize that person's. When he's so good inside and outside, what do you need? And what kind of player do you put around that?
Yeah.
Because if you're like, oh yeah, we're going to put in...
Porzingis should have worked in a way, but I mean, he's not a great passer. He's not a good 3-point shoot by average.
Right. He had one season where he shot like 38%.
Yeah.
It might have been 36, which was average.
Yeah, exactly. Which was average. It was just how he was doing it again and everything else. So it's like, yeah, if you do shoot in the mid 30s, it looks great when it's like, yeah, you can get to the hole whenever you want. You're pretty big in size. You're still going to grow. You're still young. So, yeah, I mean, obviously he can still turn into something pretty great, and he's pretty good already. But, I'm not going to say De'Aaron Fox and him are close, but or obviously taking Bagley, obviously that wasn't the right move necessarily. But I could see, like, why that wouldn't work in every situation, like just picking Doncic just because he's the best available player.
Yeah, I mean, team building is tricky, and when you think about Porzingis playing with Doncic, he needs to be in the right place every time, and so you have to know in advance, do we want him low or do we want him out on the perimeter? And if he's in the wrong spot, it's not going to work on every single play. I don't know. I just think that the pairing doesn't work because of the fact that he's not mobile enough to switch between those two spaces.
Think Atlanta knew what they were doing, right? By trading with him. Like, obviously they had talked to Dallas about it, but it was like they knew the kind of player that they wanted, and they were willing to get that with Trae. And now, obviously, Trae Young has also receded in a way. He doesn't obviously shoot a high percentage, but again, that becomes that guy that is just overutilized, right? And like dribble up the ball and create his own plays like every single time. You're talking about 100 times a game. Again, there's only so many Damian Lillards.
Porzingis went to Washington.
Well, yeah, Porzingis went to Washington. No, he did get in the trade. No, so that didn't work. But no, I'm saying why Porzingis and him didn't work.
Okay.
To go back to the other point is that maybe Doncic just doesn't make other people better, and so they were like, "Oh, we gotta get somebody else in here because Porzingis isn't working, and this guy's isn't working." But yeah, but I think like him and Trae Young like are similar styles, and they're all kind of regressing at the same time a little bit. Obviously, he's still good enough. They're going to make the playoffs probably in the Western Conference, barely, but or at least the play-in. But they're, but yeah, I don't know if this is their ceiling. Like, it's just to be like a 7 seed, like a 6 or 7 seed.
Yeah,
like.
And so is it a Texas curse? Is it just that like Texas shooting guard, point guard hybrids can't maximize themselves in their teams? Because you put Harden in Philadelphia, and Suddenly,
well, yeah, I mean, you give him the big man who, I mean, you're getting again another big man that could shoot, and plays defense a little bit, and just dominates down below. Like he's great when he's healthy. Obviously, both of those guys are. You just wonder if they stay that way and if they get enough playing time together, how good are they going to possibly be? And there's all this like hidden movement because nobody's really played together that many times, and they think they could just turn it on, like Kyrie and Durant and like all these guys, and it's kind of bastardized the season in a way. With how that stuff goes, I don't know how you fix it. Maybe shortening the season, but I don't know, like, if that really works, like, because, you might still get teams tanking, and because they're spending so much money on their players that they're not going to take a chance that they're going to get hurt, or there's just this time management thing. So it's like if they're just going to be like some time management thing, like, and it's just agreed across the board, like, this is how we're going to do it, even though we're paying you X amount of dollars. I just don't know why we don't agree on, like, what's the amount of games that we can agree upon that everybody will play unless they're not healthy at all.
Yeah. Well,
or some rule, like, if you miss this game, then you have to miss like 5 games.
Oh man. So like in the NFL, that inactive list where if you miss this, you're out 6 or whatever. In a season with 16 games, so I think we extrapolated that. It's like you got to miss 30 games if you miss one game. That's probably wrong. That's probably
right. You don't want that, but it's like, you want something where it's like it just is advantageous to play in games. They might feel like they're meaningless, but you can still do it. Now, obviously, LeBron's kind of broken that to some degree. It's like, I don't need to be the number 1 seed necessarily to win it all, and he's proven that. But not everybody can do that. He's a unicorn, as we talked about several times on here. He's a triple IPA, the highest regard. And so you just don't know. Like, I think like they got to do something. I don't know what that is. I know Adam Silver's very player oriented, more than David Stern, where I'm sure David Stern would have came up with something like this, where there'd just be like fining or something like that for it. But
to go to the game.
But clearly there'd be something. And it would probably affect the team, like, because it's like it's more the players getting away with it, because also the team is agreeing, like, okay, we're gonna. You want to rest today, and we're on a back-to-back, and it's like, well, either to do that or stop having back-to-backs, because it's like it's not the fans' fault, right? Like, you're asking fans to come to these games, and then it's like they're coming to see like the rival, and then they're just playing their B team, and it's like, well, that sucks. That's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, but we're all humans, Everybody gets hurt, everybody gets tired. Yeah. Like, there should be no expectation that for 82 games you're going to see the same team. That's just, but you also have to deal with the fact that there are players that are prideful. You want to have that record. If you shorten the season, nobody's touching these scoring records ever again. In a league that's so focused on scoring, I don't think as much as it'd be good long term for players individually, I think that pride of being like, I played the most minutes in a season, or I scored the most points. When you take 10 games out, it becomes impossible to make that time up.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, now scoring's up because obviously a lot more people are shooting threes. But yeah, like I do agree with you. I'm sure that's in a very small minority, though, of people where it's like, obviously people on, like, the players for the most part just want to make sure that they're making, like, I'm putting my body on the line, right, for this, and you can cut me at any time. Like, and so, like, I'm trying to make the best amount of money as possible. That's all the team cares about. And so for them, they're just like, hey, well, if this is a business, this is, then I'm going to treat my body like a commodity and say, like, hey, to get the best out of me, I can play like 50 games or, 50 good games. And then plus playoffs. So it's like, if I'm going to have to play all the playoff games, then that, that could be an extra 15, that could be an extra 20 games. Like, and it's just like, I don't know how you do it. Yeah. I know we're going to be old heads and say like, hey, they used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
You don't want to say people have to play hurt, but it's like, people are clearly just resting to rest. And so it's like, maybe you just count how many people can use it as rest games. Maybe you can say you had 3 rest games and then it has to be an injury, like in order to sit out. Like, I don't know. There's got to be some type of police.
I feel like the NBA should admit what they are. They're a league where you run high-performance athletes for an hour straight, and that's exhausting. And sometimes you're exhausted. And these people are young. They still want to live a life. They still want to go out and hang out with friends when they're in town. They still want to see their families. And so being tired happens. And wanting to be like, I don't really have it today, happens. I don't know. It's like with a...
But are they doing this in their Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan ages? Like, are they taking days off? Like,
yeah, the flu game where you had a hangover.
Back to back, we've heard it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, I mean, there, and again, like he's like the super alpha, so it doesn't work with him. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, even Reggie Miller and stuff like that, you just didn't see those guys really taking a lot of days off. So it's like maybe on a back-to-back, maybe you get one of the two. Maybe you get Pippen, but you don't get Jordan on a certain game. But it's like, for the most part, like they're playing like you're not playing your entire B squad, like, you know, where it's like, oh, Paul George is resting and Kawhi is resting. And this guy is like, come on, like maybe alternate, maybe do different stuff like that. But it's like, it's really, and I get like, we're splitting hairs, but it's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like you got to do something.
It's that old school. Yeah, it's definitely an old school mentality versus a new school mentality. And I'm not sure that the players have the new school mentality. It's just us commentators like, well, I feel like they could probably.
I just don't know how you sell the game. If none of your stars are.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, if you watch old NBA games, there's like players taking plays off. Like, there's. And like the shooting percentages were really garbage. They were like not good shooters because they were tired. They didn't have their legs under them, and also bad form and general disrespect for that particular part of the craft. But like, I remember watching the Dream Team documentary. And, like, they would have those shooting contests, you know, in practice, and Magic Johnson would win. It's like, oh, he's the best shooter of all time. Magic Johnson's the best shooter. And then you watch his jump shot, and it's the ugliest thing you've ever seen. You're like, you didn't even know what they were doing.
It was so bad.
And now everybody's got these sweet, silky jumpers. They need their legs to do them, though. That's the thing. They were so ugly before that it's like you could get your shot off because you didn't need legs to do it.
Well, again, they were just shooting specialists, right? They were just specialized people who just went to the hole and dished or laid it up. Usually you didn't have a guy who could do it all. Like, or if you did, you know, he was the second coming of Michael Jordan. And it's like, now it's like everybody, you have to be multifaceted. You have to have decent handles. You have to like swing and be able to obviously shoot from distance. But yeah, you just wonder, you just wonder how this evolves. Like, do we just come to shorter amount of games, or some type of just competitive balance to like keep people.
I know they're trying to minimize back-to-backs. They've gotten rid of back-to-back-to-backs. I think those don't exist anymore. And they're trying to like limit. Like,
right. No, they did get rid of back-to-back. I think that was part of like the new agreement. Like,
I think it's like 6 back-to-backs are allowed or something like that. So it's like a lot less consecutive game type stuff. But at that point, you're starting to expand the calendar out. I think they try to
schedule it where it's like they're in the same area for like a same amount of time. Like, I think COVID kind of helped with that, where, you know, like obviously, like if they went to Texas, like a California team went to Texas, you'd hit all the Texas groups. I think they kind of do it where it's like you can at least knock out like 2 times around or something like that, maybe before you come back, or something like that, to just maybe we play 6 games down here and get them all out, and then you go to Arizona, and then you head back up to California and you knock out it's just to try to minimize like travel and all that stuff. Again, we're talking about $1 million players, so I guess there's a lot of rolling of the eyes of like the stress levels of playing 18 basketball games.
Yeah, even though it's like
I get it.
Super stressful because there's demand. It's like your whole paycheck is based around that.
Well, yeah, and like you said, there is a level of competition people do care about. They do want to win on top of just like. There's a minority of people who are just in there to get the money, but there are some people who just want to win, like who want to be a part of a winner. So yeah, you just kind of have to see how it goes. But yeah, I will hope for some evolutional changes. I mean, the NBA is still a top rated entertainment destination, but yeah, I hope they figure that kind of stuff out, like, because it does kind of ruin it a little bit being an old head.
Yeah, and the one thing they can't do,
don't see the stars all the time.
Yeah, and the one thing you can't do is be the NFL and add games somehow in a push to get less games. Like, let's actually add 8 more games.
No, right. Well, see, the NFL, why they're number one is that there's not a lot of games, right? It's like, so every Sunday matters. And again, they're just, you can't get enough of a good thing, right? So it's like, now we have to find out a way to make more money. And so doing this, like, will dilute it to some degree, because obviously you're going to get more injuries. I know they're supposed to be like shortening the preseason and when they add on these games and stuff. So maybe there's that, some help to that, but then it's like then player development gets hurt, all this kind of stuff. There's always like
give and take.
So it's like, you'll see how the play has changed or how different it is. We'll have to find out.
Yeah. But. And the one thing about the NFL with that extension and the shortening of a preseason, which they've done for a few years now, is like, everybody's like, oh, week 1 means so much. It means nothing. It is another preseason game. Like, at this point, the NFL, nothing matters in the first 3 weeks. It's all a lie. Everybody's figuring out what they're good at and what they're not good at and what they're doing, what they're not doing. And it's just like, oh, this team's already 3-0. Like, what happened? I'm like, the other teams figured it out.
You don't want to be 0-3, but it's like, if you're 1-2, you have just as much of a chance to climb back in it. Like,
and at 3-0, you're just as likely to fall out of the race entirely. Like,
exactly. Did you get to see have you gotten to see any of Adam McKay's The Lakers, The Showtime?
Yeah, Winning Time or whatever.
I've been watching it too. Yeah, it was, I love it.
I love it a lot. It's very fun. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it. I think once they get to
I wasn't sure either.
I think once they get to the season where they're playing games, I think that's where it'll be a little bit more of a challenge for them to show what's going on, unless they're going to focus mainly on the off-court stuff and like quick cut basketball, which I think is what they're going to probably do. Is
I figured we'll see how they portray. Yeah, it's like we'll see how fast things start to go now that they're. I've caught all the way up. I just watched the last 2 yesterday to catch up on all 4 episodes, so. Like, we'll see. Like, now that's like they're at this crescendo of like, okay, we got the team together, we got the coach, so we'll see how this all goes. And me and you know, obviously how it ends, but I don't remember all this minutia. Like, I was a kid, so like seeing like all the changes that are happening, it's very interesting to see, and just how they portray certain coaches and stuff like that with certain actors. And just how they play them is very interesting to me.
I want to see Adrian Brody become confident Pat Riley. I'm just like, I just don't see it. I just don't see that trend. Like, I love Adrian Brody, and I think he's doing a great job with what he has now.
Too. I love how they're doing that. Yes.
But I'm like, where are we going to get confident? Like, I want to see what that looks like, and it's pretty exciting for that. And
it's very exciting for me.
I wasn't sure how they're going to handle, getting people that can play. Athletes that are, 6'6", 6'8", 6'11", things like that, and have them act, and play.
No, right, exactly. Yeah, that's true, because it's like all we've really seen is just Lakers, so we haven't really seen them having to play other teams, and we're going to have to eventually see
who's got that dirt stash?
Yeah. Who they got? Like, so far, he's just picked top-notch actors.
It's going to be Adrian Brody again with that nose. I think that would be so funny.
His hair is terrible in that. Oh my God, the hair, the wigs that they got.
Get him in a wig and like just give him a dirty blonde stash. Oh,
I get like they're going 70s, but good Lord, the hair wasn't that bad. Like, I mean, the hair was bad, but it wasn't like for what's his name who played Paul Westphal. Oh my God,
yeah,
he just did him so. They did him so dirty.
Jason Segel.
Oh my God, Jason Segel. Yes, they did him so dirty. I know that Jason Segel, he's a great actor too, and I love him very much. But good Lord, did they make him like the most passive guy ever in like history? And I'm like, dude, that guy won a championship. Like he was on a good team. Like he was on a good team. This guy like almost beat Michael Jordan in the finals. Like, I mean, this guy eventually becomes a good coach, but it's just like how they're portraying him right now. It's just this really passive man, but I love it. I love it too.
They're really kind of just destroying the idols in both directions, you know? Like Jerry West is this legend, he's the logo, and they're like, he's actually like a self-doubting,
almost a psychopath.
Yeah. Just like with crippling self-doubt and like this like desire to be the best.
Like
but
he's
no
like, I need to be in
the
control, but I also know when I'm in control, disaster happens.
Yeah, like just he finds himself to be unlucky.
It is a funny thing to say, like, because it's like, yeah, like how does somebody's mental makeup, right, of constantly making the finals and losing, and even being MVP one of the years that you do lose, and then you finally win it, and then you're just not as happy as you thought you'd be. Yeah. Like that's a really strange way of going about it, and he became such the focal point in the beginning, like him and Bus, that like, I don't know, I just love it all. I didn't know how I was going to feel about them, like talking to the, doing documentary style, like talking to the camera, but it's worked because the first episode, it was like a lot of that. And then it's like waned, like where
now it's just
he doesn't address you all the time. He kind of just does slightly. And so I like that. I like that it's not constant.
Yeah. No.
And I love the grainy film.
Yeah.
Like,
that's 70s footage. Yeah. I think it's fun. I want to see more. I don't know how. I'm like, how many seasons do you do to properly capture what's happening with this team also?
So what? They won 4, right?
Yeah.
4 championships. You probably show like, I was like, how far did they make it? Did they make it all the way to Michael to Magic getting AIDS?
Yeah.
Do you just do it until like him and Larry Bird kind of like go their different ways?
Yeah, you go 86. I think that's the hinge point is 86.
Where I'm assuming you get you probably end it on not win, like if they win the championship or not. Like I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. Season 1,
because they win.
They win the first year.
Like, and I know because so we know they win,
which does kind of like what the thing like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna survive?
But it's like, how does Pat Riley come into this? And I totally didn't even know about the UNLV coach.
Yeah,
like, I didn't know about Turkey. That was so great. Because I was like, wait, that's not how it happened. And then like I was like, oh, did you see that? You're just like, oh shit, like they did it again. Adam McKay trying to tell a story that everybody already knows the ending to, takes really good writing and stuff like that to keep people captivated. And so far, I think they've done a great job.
I think the nice part is like he puts in lies. Like these are straight up lies, or like,
right.
Nobody knows what happens here, so I'm going to fill in the gap. And like it's hard to say like that's a lie. You can't just be like, that's writing.
No, right.
And so he's pretty good about that stuff.
No, he knows where he can stretch the truth and where he can't. Yeah. All right.
So from fake basketball history to
the fake basketball back to real basketball.
Real basketball current events. I mean, I meant to go back and listen to see what our predictions were earlier this year. But I think one that's coming true, I'm very certain we made this call earlier this year, is that the Heat would rise again. And seems to be. We might have been right.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go look at the tape too. I think we thought they'd be in it. We thought the Suns would be good. Again, we didn't really talk, like we kind of did the disrespect to them because the Warriors were kind of coming back. And so we were kind of on the Warriors. And then they had just played, I think.
Yep.
And
a week ago.
I think the Warriors had won. But obviously, like, injuries have happened. Curry's gotten hurt. The Suns are really good. The Heat, I don't know how good they are.
They're falling apart now. They're still
winning again. Yeah, they're but again, we're talking about teams like Brooklyn and 76ers who are so different now, and they're going to be lower seeds, but it's like they're not going to have to worry about obviously the 76ers, but they could get Brooklyn. Boston looks really good now. Like when they looked terrible in the beginning of the season.
Which I know we talked about also.
Yes, but it seemed like they finally figured out roles, and then they got somebody to get hurt. Williams, their power forward defensive guy, has been really good for them. So we'll see again how they play with that. Yeah, he said they might make it to the first round with him if he could, if they could gut it out. But you'll have to see with that. But yeah, Heater, we can't deny they're in first place. Yep. That matters. And we'll see who they end up playing after the play-in.
That'll matter.
Yeah, that will matter. But, you'd like to see, Brooklyn and them, obviously. But it's like they're doing it with so many parts that we know what it takes when you get to the playoffs. It has to be one guy. Like
it's 3 years in a row now where they're like, we don't know what the combinations are that work to make this team good.
They are just in the fog as we are. Like they are like Jimmy Butler is really good, but he is not a great shooter. But he gets if he could get to the foul line and stuff, he's good. He's good at that, and he's good at stopping people. But it's like when he has to be the guy all the time, it doesn't work. Like eventually he just tires out. Like again, it worked in the bubble. I don't know if it works this year. But we'll see. Like they have good coach. They're gonna be in it. Like I don't know what to do.
If everybody's hustling and trying, that's what they need. Is like they may not be on the same page, but they're healthy and hustling. Like they're gonna be a problem.
No, right. They should again get at least 1 to 2 rounds, but it's like I'm not. I'm not taking them over the Bucks. I'm not taking over the Bucks. No, yeah, exactly. You have to show us, right? It's like, even though they've done it in the bubble, you have to show us again. It's like, I don't care how good you are, Jazz. You have to show me in the playoffs because you just you're there. Like, yeah, you're very talented, but it's like, yeah, I don't know how good you really are. And again, you need a single scorer like on your team, and it can't be Hero one night and Butler the next and stuff like that. You could do that in the regular season. You cannot do that in the playoffs. Like you have, because people are just going to plan for it. That's why Curry doesn't win MVPs, is because everybody does everything to take him away and forces other people to beat you. And luckily he had a Klay Thompson. Yeah. Luckily, he had an Iguodala. Yes. That's why they knew they had to go get Kevin Durant, because they needed somebody that, hey, Curry's going to get doubled all the time and he can shoot from everywhere. Like, we need to get another guy who can get his own shot, like, immediately. Yeah. And then if he gets doubled, here's Klay. And now you just have no way of stopping
Nowhere to go. Yeah, because it's like now you're playing 1-on-3 the rest of the way. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and that one person's going to be on Klay, and then you got 2 guys in the post that can hopefully not miss bunnies. So yeah, we called it Heat and Suns as being teams to watch out for, competitors. We also, at the end of the playoffs last year, called 2 teams. One that we thought had overachieved and one we thought was about to be on the precipice of overachieving. Phil, do you remember who we called out last year during the playoffs as one team seems like they're good, but they're probably not, and one that seems like they might be good that is?
I wanted to say it was Paul George, but but that seems like too low of fruit. Oh man, I think I guess if I had to say it right now, if I had to take somebody in the East, I would say.
Oh, sorry, no.
James.
Oh, good, yeah, go. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I can't remember what we did pick, but if I had to think about it now, I would say James Harden is probably better than we think he is. I would watch out for them.
I'm going teams that we thought in last year's playoffs made statements about their future. One, we thought they made a statement that they're coming.
Atlanta?
We definitely talked Atlanta overachieving. They got to the conference finals, and we talked at length about Nate McMillan's coaching. But there's one team.
Yes, we talked about McMillan, and we knew it would happen. We did come back to that later, as I brought it up, saying like how right you were, and I agreed with you that what they were going to do and how mediocre they're going to be after, but they had to give him the contract because they made it to conference finals. But yeah, as you see, like pieces and parts are falling like everywhere around there. The Knicks, I think we were also thinking were overachievers. Mm-hmm. They didn't have quite the identity, but they had a coach, and we were like, okay, they got some surrounding coach. Everybody likes Tibbs for like 3 or 4 years, and then you wonder like, why is he like on a different team all the time? And it's like he just wears his welcome. Like however he does it, he wears his welcome. He gets a lot out of him, but like. And he takes Taj Gibson wherever he goes. Yeah. But that's about it. He'll give Taj Gibson a contract, and he'll get you to the playoffs 1 or 2 years, like he did with the Timberwolves, and then like just wear away. Yeah. Like I think he's like a confrontationalist, like Jimmy Butler. And then I think that's why they liked each other so much, and that's why I feel like that's in Miami right now. Like I know Jimmy Butler's kind of rubbing people the wrong way a little bit there.
A little bit of a spat.
They just got it. They had a spat, and I think it's kind of been going on like that. That's how he tries to get stuff out of people is just like starting stuff, and whether it's with Spo and.
Haslam somehow?
Haslam, yeah. And Haslam,
like, what's the word person? Like, in 2022, you're coming for Udonis Haslam? Well, I think it was just...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll still fight you. Yeah, he will still fight you as a player coach, which is funny to me that he's on the roster, but he's really a coach. But he's just a mafia guy. He's just like, he's there for life. They'll figure out a legal way to just have him on the roster forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. In the Western Conference, we had a team that were like, look, this run may seem fake, but I think they're real. And that was...
I think it was the Suns for real.
Oh, no. We knew they were real. We knew they were real.
They were real. We told you when they got Chris Paul, that's a playoff team.
Yeah.
Like, instantly.
Not even a question.
Now, I didn't know if they'd be a number 1 seed, but we thought they'd be pretty damn good.
Yeah, but this is year 2 of that. No, I'm talking about Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant came out on fire in the playoffs. Him. Everybody thought he was lucky. I'm like, nah, this is legit. This is a team.
I think it was for real. I told you, I think I was just worried about injuries because he just throws his body around everywhere. But yes, I agree with you. Like, they are for real. Charlotte's probably close. Like, that's another one in the East, but they're probably close. But they kind of need an identity, right? It's like they have a Ja Morant, but they don't have enough scoring consistently to get it done. But like,
and they don't have
LaMelo Ball is unfortunately the real deal, despite his father. Like, it's like he might be the best out of the Balls, and he's comfortable. He's very, very comfortable out there, and that's bad. That's bad for the league because he's going to get better. Same thing with Ja Morant. He's so comfortable. The kid reminds me of me in high school. Just, it's like he's so short, but just jumps out of the building try to junk over everyone. Again, not a terribly great shooter, but he just has those intangibles where it's like he's gonna find a way to get other people involved. He makes steals, he makes blocks like that. Like he just is a team player. And from the get-go, I think there was like this struggle that he had with like Iguodala, like where Iguodala was just waiting for a buyout or something. And he was like, yeah, like that's fine. Like somebody asked him about it. He's like, yeah, I want people who want to be here. Like because we want to win. And he's been all about it, and they've done nothing but gotten better. And so I'm excited for them and what they have coming. They're legit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot going on. That's what you pay the good money for. What kind of insight can Ben add? They got a lot going on.
Yeah, good job, Ben. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the NBA. No, they're one of the teams to be careful of. Again, like I don't think that they're beating, a healthy Warrior team or the Suns, but they're probably the third best team for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, they'll be good next year too, but I did not see a 2 seed. Like going away 2 seed. Not struggling
and they beat the Warriors when they were healthy. They beat the Warriors twice.
Yeah, I mean, because they're a mix of young and old, offense and defense. Like their defensive players become offensive players. Their offensive players become defensive players. It's such a good lineup.
Yeah, and you could just see the cohesiveness of them all. Right? It's just they played together now like 2 or 3 seasons, and so they're just like people just know where to be. That's why it's like, again, like Milwaukee's always gonna be dangerous because they have Middleton, them, and like again they won without having like all their special guys like early, like, and have them for years, and now they're gonna just have a couple more years. Like, so those teams are always gonna be the teams, and that's why you worry about Brooklyn, because it's like they don't have the chemistry that all these other teams have.
Yeah, it's like the NFL where you've got to maximize those first few years in the contract before it explodes, and that really is the problem with the Nets. Is it's just a cobbled together group of people that are old and get hurt and deny science. And
it's like you are good singularly, but it's like, can you guys do? It's
this
just
is the
different
ultimate team
in the
game.
playoffs.
If you wanted to be an excellent team, go play baseball.
Right, exactly. And again, like these are the things we talk about, like the Bulls and stuff. Like it's like, they were hot, right? When they started, they were hot. They were. Yeah. People thought they were gonna come out like, wow, all the haters, like, look, we're making it work.
Why are you trading for all these guards? And then
now they're struggling. Now they're a playoff team, but it's like, how good are you really? Because again, they're gonna have to decide who's taking the shot. Is it DeRozan? Is it, who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Levine? Like, they got to figure that out, and they haven't played enough together to really know that yet.
Yeah,
and you got a sneaky Toronto, and you got these could be interesting seeds going down the stretch. Like once they figure out who they're playing.
Yeah, and then
but Miami definitely doesn't want a Brooklyn, or they're hoping for Charlotte, but we know how this is gonna go.
100%. Yeah, they don't. Nobody wants. I don't think anybody wants the Nets just because of that high upside that can come through. But like the Heat, they don't want the Bucks, they don't want the Celtics, they don't want the 76ers, and they don't want the Nets.
No.
And they're going to play at least one of those teams.
They're at least going to get one of those in the second round. So it's like, they could put all the
They might not even want the
Raptors.
Charlotte. They might not want the Raptors. It's just
No, right. Exactly, because those are clear roles of offensive guys who can take over, where it's like you just don't know. Like, your best guy can't be Duncan Robinson. Like, he can't. And he's been on some days, like for them in the regular season. So you just don't know.
If you get healthy back to the triple tower thing, maybe they don't want the Cavs either, who will take away the inside game because the Heat don't have a strong outside game. So it's just like bad time for the Heat to be number one.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about?
Yeah. No, they didn't. Again, what?
I was going to say, do you want to talk about that Ben Simmons filing a grievance against the 76ers?
What I have to say about it is, it's the same thing with maybe the Will Smith and Chris Rock slap. It's like I've seen it from so many angles now. Like I just want it to go away. Like like Ben Simmons got what he wanted. The 76ers, got what they wanted. Probably more than enough for him. I don't know. Like a lot of the players in it, like weren't, like whatever he had with Doc Rivers and stuff was like clear, right? They made it very public, like how they felt about him after that playoff game, calling him out. And he just has to take it the right way. And again, like, I don't even know if Brooklyn will even have him. Like, he hasn't played one game for them.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that makes him eligible to even play for them in the play. I have zero idea, like, because I've never seen anything like this. And it's like he seems to be so worried about this kind of stuff. And it's like, especially when, I've always been a fan of Maverick Carter and everything that they do for sports and just how they've like kind of bursted through the scenes of like, sports agents and stuff like that, and just gonna do it differently. I've been all for it for them, but this one, it just looks ugly. Like it just looks like a total money grab for a guy who hasn't proven he can really do anything. Like who's an average player at best, like with like all this high potential, and he's just causing more drama than he's worth. Right? It's like there's so many parallels. Antonio Brown. Guys, I'm just like tired of it. I'm done. Like,
how many chances can this guy get? Like it's like you want a paycheck, you haven't played for it. You haven't played for your paycheck. You were docked pay for refusing to appear. What's your case? All you had to do was sit down on the bench and wear a uniform. And you're like, nah. And then now you still want that money you were fined?
Right, exactly. Like, no, it's like you made your stance. You said, I don't want to be here. Fine. And you thought like, okay, and their legal thing is to say like, hey, well, we're just gonna dock you pay, even though we know
because you're healthy. You're a healthy scratch.
You're just gonna be a healthy scratch. And so, but it's like, all you had to do was step up and not play. Like, I mean, what's his name? God, why am I the center for the Sixers? I'm trying to think before Embiid that was a Laker.
Oh, yeah.
Bynum.
And Anthony
Bynum did basically same thing. Stole $72 million, right? Like just sitting on the bench, played maybe 10 games for them.
Yeah.
Like just be a healthy scratch the whole time. Just tell them like, my knee's not feeling great. My back's not feeling good.
Which, I mean, to be fair, when you're that big, that's a fair argument. But he didn't make it. That's not the argument that he made. No. Andrew Bynum's like, I'm hurt.
Exactly.
He's like, I'm feeling better, and now, oops, hurt myself again. But like Ben Simmons is like, I don't want to be here. I'm not going to play for you. I don't like how you treat me.
You got in my feelings. Like nobody has the money doesn't cover your feelings. Like that the money covers real injuries. Like they don't cover you just not feeling comfortable. Like,
to be fair,
I get all of that. Like I get not wanting to be there. I get like all that different kind of stuff, but you just can't do that like that way. Like you said, there's ways to play the game, and you can't defend it. There's just no way to defend it, and all it does is just drag it through the mud longer. Again, you got what you wanted. Like you're out. You get to play on a probably better team, like overall, like on paper. I don't know what else you want. Like you stop. Like you already won. Like I'm over it.
Yeah,
like in this.
Like here's what you do: you go on the floor and you play, and you show them you can play.
Yes, and then you'll have people in your corner. But the fact that you haven't even played at all and you're still keep like being petty about it, it's like all you're making to do is the rich billionaire 76ers look like, yeah, they were right. You're trash. You're not proving anybody.
At this point,
that they can root for you.
I hate saying, I feel like at this point he knows he's not getting another contract, and he just wants to maximize the value that he can get now. I think that's what happened.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So we've got 3 to 4 games left in this season, Phil. We probably should figure out what the hell we're talking about going into the playoffs. So I'm looking here. You got the Atlanta Hawks and the Hornets and the Nets kind of jockeying for the 8, 9, 10 spot. Allegedly the Cavs, but not really. All you got to do is win one game.
No.
And everybody else
we can probably go off of these. Yeah, you want to see who comes out and the winners of the 9, 10 seeds, or from the 8 and 7 seeds.
Yeah, I think just what do you think?
Let's see. In the West, God, the Pelicans have been looking good, and they got the Spurs.
Yeah, that's pretty locked up. It's 3 games left, and it's a 2-game difference. I don't think we really need to. I mean, do the Lakers get in? I guess is the question. They're only 1 game behind.
Yeah,
the Spurs.
Probably not. We're just going to say that they don't get in, and even if they do, I think the Pelicans win. I think the Pelicans win. I think they become the A seed, and then I think the Clippers become the 7 seed. But like we said, I think we've still been hashtag free. Karl Anthony Towns, it seems like he's eventually coming into his own right now. So
winning season.
So yeah, I mean, he's played pretty good. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. But I if I had to check, I would say New Orleans gets through, and the Clippers get through. Unfortunately, I think Karl Anthony Towns misses, but hopefully that gets him a trade to a better team.
And I should probably ask this as a local Kings fan, 4 games before the season's over, not mathematically eliminated yet. How does that feel?
Oh, horrible! I would want this to be over. They're already kind of shutting it down. Fox and Sabonis aren't really playing anymore. Sure, they're practicing together. I like our core. I think we didn't really get to talk about Halliburton, but it was heartbreaking to see, at the least. But I think we got what we got for him. I think was really good, and I like where they're going forward. It's just, like I said, it's just hard to find good passing bigs. So we'll just see how it goes. But yeah. So I got probably New Orleans, Pelicans, and Clippers coming out of the West, and then I got obviously Brooklyn and probably Atlanta.
Yeah.
Coming out again as the 7th and 8th seeds on the East.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. All right, well, good talk. I'm glad we were able to debate that.
That was good content.
All right, let's do it. Let's do one more. We got MVP. Who we?
Yes. I mean, I think our consensus is the same. It's Jokic again for me. Nicholas Jokic. He's the best. We've had conversations of can your big, your center be your best player, and win a championship? I don't think so. But you can't deny what he does, what he means to that team, and I think this is exactly what Malone wanted to do this for the Kings, and DeMarcus Cousins, and DeMarcus Cousins got him run out of here and cry. So yeah, I'm happy for him. I think he wins back to back. Obviously it won't be unanimous, but I think he wins. I think Booker's a close second or third. John Morant should be right there too. But you see the records when John Morant doesn't play. I think Memphis is 19-2.
Yeah.
Without
they cleaned house.
So it's
but they're just so good.
They're so good. Exactly. They've played together so long now, like 2 or 3 seasons, and again they just mesh so well. They're just a great team. But at least on that, like if you put them again between them and Miami,
but then what do you say about Chris Paul? He missed a bunch of time too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I think you can't give it to Booker, where it's like clearly Jokic on all levels, leads in rebounds, like in defensive matrix, in points. Like he's just a better player, and that team isn't even a 6 seed in this, brutal Western Conference without him. Like, Memphis is the 2nd seed at 55 wins, on the East, they would be number 1 seed, like, and they're down 7 games to the Suns. So it's like not even close.
Yeah. Well, I can't agree with you because I still believe that the voters are old school despite all the statistics being around for 20 years. I don't think they're giving a 6 seed that's 16 and a half games out an MVP anymore.
Wow.
I'm not gonna argue the merits of his actual play. I'm gonna say these guys are stupid, and they're gonna pick Giannis. They're gonna pick Giannis.
Wow.
And it's like you could just as easily pick Embiid, but he's a 4th seed with a whopping 1 game difference.
Right. I think they would pick Embiid over Giannis.
2 seed versus the 4 seed.
Giannis.
I think they pick Giannis. If the Bucks finish 2nd and the Sixers finish below the Bucks, I think they're going to pick Giannis. And he's not undeserving, but it's going to be one of those stupid, like, come on. Like, it's MVP. The team's good. Jokic is the entirety of the Nuggets. They lost so many players this year.
Oh my God!
Their top 3 guys.
They still don't have Murray. They still don't have Murray, who was like maybe their second best, first best player before he went down. Like, yeah, it should be Jokic. Yeah. Like, it's not even close.
I'm not making the argument.
But I mean, Embiid's probably like 2nd because he was carrying that team despite not having Ben Simmons. He should definitely get honorable mention for what he did despite all the chaos. Like, just showed up and did his thing. But it's like, again, it's your competition too. Jokic has had to play in the Western Conference against like hard-hitting teams. He's very much obviously an old school position in comparison like to all these teams that are just shooting the ball constantly. And for them to be where they are in the 60, I think it just means more to me that he's able even to do that. Like, he's 3 games out from the Warriors. Now the Warriors have had injuries too, but it's like that guy is just like pretty much carried them like all the way through, and then from being a conglomerate. So if he has Murray, that team could make some noise. They lost Porter to the back injury that eventually was going to happen to him, but yeah, I mean, I still wanted him. I would have taken 2 years of him on the Kings over 0. But hey, we are what we have. But yeah, I that would be interesting. We'll see who gets it. Maybe we'll do a little IG live or something like that and talk about it once we find out who gets it. But I would be appalled if it goes to Giannis. There's nothing for Giannis, but it's like your team just won the championship. Like, we know how good you are, and your team is really good. So I think you already get yours, but we'll see. Because again, there were times LeBron should have won it. We all knew he was the best, and he did. They just don't like giving it to the same guy over and over again. So maybe, and they've given it. Didn't Westbrook win MVP one year?
Yeah, that triple-double season, or the first
triple-double season. And
the first one. They were like, he had 2 more, right? But who cares?
7 seed.
Yeah, they were the 8th.
They were like a 6 or 7 seed.
They were the 8th seed.
So there you go. So it could happen.
It can happen.
We'll see.
You need a once in a lifetime thing, and that's not what he has. Look, there's no debate. There's no argument that he is the MVP, but yet there's a debate.
Sure.
So is
he popular enough to be the MVP? But again, like that's how it works. Is how much of a star is he in this league? But Steve Nash won it twice. Wasn't probably the best player, and Kobe probably should have won it one of those years.
Yeah,
but that's
and a few more times.
Sometimes it's weird like that. So yeah, we'll have to see. Giannis would be a dark horse for sure. Like, because I would assume they would like to give it to Booker or somebody else, like Embiid, over him. But because obviously he has a bigger personality than Nicholas Jokic, but we'll have to see. It'd be interesting to me, but I think Jokic is a runaway.
Yeah, you want to do one more beer comparison, or just get out of here?
I'd like to do one, but I think we gotta get out of here.
We gotta get out of here. This is an early morning. I'm so tired already. So yeah, Phil. Before we get out of here, where can people find you? Find out what's going on.
Culinary Lando on Instagram and Peter Parkour on Twitter. We are constantly looking for content or things to talk about. If you guys tell us who your MVP is, who your best team's coming out of the playing games, let us know. Hit us up on all the media platforms, and Ben knows all of them by heart by now.
Yep. Yeah, don't forget to slide into our GMs. It's Please Dunk Responsibly on Instagram, Please Dunk Pod on Twitter. That's PLZ Dunk Pod on Twitter. So go ahead and do that. Email pleasedunkresponsibly@gmail.com as well. Don't forget to tell your friends about this stuff. You can follow me across social media at Barley and Me Pod. It's beer, it's comedy, it's basketball, it's... That's pretty much it. I think I've kind of narrowed it down. I'm doing
it's like everyday man's conversation.
Yeah, I'm doing my shitty memes of the day because I have a few that I've made over the years. Like these are kind of garbage, but they're fun for me.
They're funny because of that. Yes, they're funny because we don't try. That's why.
Yeah, like this is for a very niche audience, and I feel like they're not seeing it. I guessed it on a another beer thing. And I finally went back and looked at it, and it's like, their listens are like, oh, we had 60 viewers, 80 viewers. Mine was 2,000 viewers. And then there's somebody comes like, this guy's great. He should have more subscribers. I'm like, you're right, but I don't. So
yeah, exactly. but I don't.
That's
you want to do that for me? Give me 10,000.
You're allowed. I'm like, let's check to see if I got any new subscribers. Like, for instance, this person who said I should have more. No? Okay. Walk the walk. All right. But yeah.
Sir.
It has been episode 5 of season. Remember, okay, I got to say this. I said this year we're going to do more episodes. But for the last 8 years in comedy, like, I want to be in the Bay more often than I was last year. And every year I've gone less and less.
Less and less. Yeah,
so the more I'm like, we're going to do this more, it just means I'm going to do it less than ever. Last year we did 17. Probably. We did 17 of these last year. 5 this year.
Wow. We gotta get on there. Hopefully playoff time we'll get a little bit more of doing this. But yeah, like we've had family editions and
home editions,
movements and home editions and remodelings and stuff. So yeah, we got a lot of things going on. But
leave us alone.
We're gonna make it happen. Life happens. We're trying to do it in a pandemic. Coming out of a pandemic, so we'll get it together. But it's always a pleasure. We always do good stuff, and we're gonna get more out. Hopefully, during the playoff time, we'll do more and maybe a couple more IGs and stuff like that because it's always fun.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for this episode. I just want to thank you so much for listening, and for all the listeners at home, I'm Ben Rice.
Yes, and I'm Phil Webster.
Reminding you guys to please. Dunk responsibly.